While I was working on a weekend, I got a call from the hospital. "Are you Mrs. Emma Watson?" "Yes, I am. Your husband was in an accident and is now in the hospital." Time seemed to stop for a moment. Noah was supposed to be out driving with Grace. I rushed to the hospital, but then I got another call from a different number. I answered and was shocked by what I heard. And I began to plot my revenge against Noah. "My name is Emma Watson. I live with my husband, Noah, and our daughter, Grace. Grace is 6 and will start elementary school next year. She has grown up to be a bright and honest child. Noah and I used to work at the same company. Noah, 2 years younger than me, worked under me, and I was in charge of training him. It didn't take long for me to fall for his friendly personality. Noah seemed to be attracted to me too, and we quickly started dating and got married soon after. However, a few years ago, Noah got injured and couldn't continue working, so he had to quit his job. He had an accident while driving a company car and got injured. The company told him he didn't need to quit, but Noah felt responsible and insisted on leaving. After he left the company, we agreed that I would work hard until his injury healed and he would take care of our child. I thought it would be a long-term arrangement, but Noah's injury healed pretty quickly. He said he was looking for another job, but he wasn't finding anything. 6 months after quitting his job, he finally found a job, but it was part-time. I was just happy he was working, even if it wasn't ideal. In my heart, I wished he would come back to my company as a full-time employee. That way, he could get out of the part-time job rut. I was earning enough money as a full-time employee to support us. When Noah was working full-time, he contributed to the household, but since starting the part-time job, he hasn't been contributing any money to our finances. "I'm not making enough to contribute." "I understand, but what are you spending your money on? Working 5 days a week should earn a decent amount. I have my own personal expenses." "What? Are you looking down on me because I don't make as much as you?" "That's not it. I just wondered what you were spending it on. Just because you make more doesn't mean you get to know how I spend my money." "You think I'm a joke?" His defensive attitude made it hard to discuss money. "So I had to earn enough for us to live. Right now, my salary is enough, but as Grace grows, expenses will increase." I wanted Noah to contribute, but I was content as long as he continued working. Sometimes I had to work late, and Noah would take care of Grace and even make dinner sometimes, which made up for his lack of financial contribution. I had resigned myself to the idea that if Noah got a full-time job, he wouldn't be able to do that, so maybe it was okay for him to stay part-time. However, one day I didn't have to work late and got home early, only to find Noah not there. The living room was dark, and Grace was sitting alone on the sofa. "Grace, I'm home. Where's Dad?" "Mom, welcome back. Dad went out somewhere. Lately, he's always going somewhere. He comes back right before you do. So, when I get home, there's never anyone here." I was surprised to hear this because I didn't know. When Noah got home, I asked him about it. "Sorry, I didn't mention it, but I picked up another part-time job." "Really? But why did you take on another job? Grace is going to need money for school soon, right? I thought I should help out a bit." "That's nice, but where are you working?" "Well, you know, somewhere." For some reason, he wouldn't tell me where he was working. However, that wasn't my main concern. "Isn't it sad for Grace to be alone at home? Maybe we should hire a babysitter to help." "That might be a good idea. It's safer that way. But you used to watch her, right? We managed fine before, and now it'll cost money to use the babysitter. Can you cover that cost?" "What? I'm working to support Grace, and you want me to pay more? She can stay with a neighbor. They'd enjoy having her around." "We can't ask them to watch her every day. If you don't want to pay for the babysitter, I'll work harder and you stay home with Grace. You can quit the extra job." Noah wasn't satisfied and proposed a condition. "Fine, if you want, I'll quit the evening job and stay home." That worked for me. So he quit the job that conflicted with the time Grace returned home, and I focused more on my work. Thanks to that, I was soon up for a promotion. Noah started spending more time with Grace. However, Noah started being away from home more often on weekends. At first, it was late at night on weekdays, but recently he's been gone from morning until late at night on Saturdays and Sundays. He claimed he was doing day labor, but he wouldn't tell me where he went or how much he earned. Between the day labor and his daytime job, he should have been making a decent amount of money. However, not only did Noah not contribute financially to the household, but he also wouldn't tell me how much money he had. It didn't make sense that he claimed to work for Grace but didn't contribute. Even on weekdays, when I got home, Noah either stayed in his room or wasn't home. There was hardly any conversation between us or with Grace. I grew suspicious and hired a private investigator to look into Noah. I thought even if nothing suspicious was found, at least I'd know where he worked. The investigator told me it would take some time to get results. That was inevitable, so I decided to wait. A few days after hiring the investigator, my company asked me to work on the weekend. When I told Noah, he said, "Leave Grace to me. Maybe I'll take her for a drive." Despite my suspicions, I felt relieved that he wanted to spend time with Grace. I thought I might have been wrong about him. After all, if he were having an affair, he'd prioritize his partner over Grace. Feeling guilty for doubting him, I left Grace with Noah and went to work. While at work, I received a call from an unknown number. It was the hospital. "Sorry for the sudden call. Are you Mrs. Emma Watson?" "Yes, I am. Your husband was in an accident and is now in the hospital." I felt like time stopped. Noah in an accident. That meant Grace was likely in the car too. I believe there was a little girl in the passenger seat. Was she brought in? Yes, but the hospital staff sounded hesitant. "I'm sorry to say, but the person in the passenger seat." As soon as I heard that, I hung up the phone and rushed to the hospital. Grace in an accident. I'm sorry to say, there was only one possible ending to that sentence that I could imagine. Unbelievable. It can't be true. I was panicking, but I tried to calm down. If I got into an accident now, it would be even worse. I explained the situation to my workplace, and they let me leave. As I hurried to the hospital, I received another phone call. When I answered and heard the news, I was shocked. I stopped in my tracks. Then I made a call to someone else and asked them to come to the hospital. When I arrived at the hospital, I saw Noah lying in a bed. Sorry is sorry. I was a bit careless and broke my leg. Where's Grace? Grace wasn't in the car. What? There's no way she wasn't in the car. They were supposed to be going out for a drive together. It was clear that Noah was lying. Well, it's good that Grace is safe, right? I got hurt again. Looks like I'll have to quit my job again, he said, laughing carelessly. I then told Noah the shocking news. The person in the passenger seat, I'm afraid she didn't make it. His face, which had been smiling, turned pale instantly. Your affair partner. She didn't make it. Because of you. Noah went into a frenzy. No way. You're lying, right? Linda's gone? So you admit to the affair? Oh. Suddenly faced with reality, he started looking around nervously. You had the guts to leave Grace with your parents and go off with your affair partner. Why? I have plenty of evidence of your affair, you know? I showed Noah the proof of his infidelity. The call earlier had been from a private investigator. I had been informed that Noah was having an affair and that he was driving around with his affair partner today. They also found out that he had left Grace with his parents. Before heading to the hospital, I collected the evidence from the investigator. Then I contacted Noah's parents and asked them to come to the hospital. So, the cat's out of the bag, but it's not like that. It's not an affair. Do you really think that lie is going to work with all this evidence? Just because your partner is gone doesn't mean you can hide it. There's no way you can be trusted anymore. Noah fell silent. At that moment, Grace and Mymil entered the room. Mymil walked straight to Noah. You told me you were going to work, didn't you? Oh, is your job driving around with a girl in the passenger seat? She pressed. Grace clung to me. But the other person is gone now. That means there's no one left to get in our family's way, right? From now on, I'll be with you all. That's fine, right? He said, laughing as if it was the most natural thing. I felt a chill of fear seeing Noah's deranged behavior. I can't walk for a while. I might never be able to walk like I used to. So, I need you to support me. Don't be ridiculous. I have proof of your affair, so I'm divorcing you. You will pay alimony and child support, I told him, but Noah raised his voice. What? You can talk about alimony to someone who won't be able to work, and I've just lost someone important. How can you say that to someone who's grieving? Everything is your own doing. If you hadn't cheated, none of this would have happened. You're going to pay for what you've done. Noah, perhaps thinking he could get sympathy, began to cry loudly. I'm at the lowest point of my life, and now you're leaving me too," he sobbed. I was beyond disgusted. When I ignored him, Noah turned to Grace, crying, "Grace, Daddy might not be able to walk properly anymore. It's going to be tough. Can you ask Mommy to let me stay with you? Daddy has no money." I was furious and was about to grab Noah when Grace said coldly, "I don't like you, Daddy. When you were home, you were always on your phone and never played with me." Noah had ignored Grace to talk to his affair partner. "Grace, thank you. Let's go home and leave this person behind." "Okay." "Hey, wait, what about me?" "Hey, Emma," he shouted, but I ignored him and went home. As we left the hospital room, my Mill came to apologize. "I'm really sorry. He probably won't be able to pay the alimony, so we'll cover it. But we will make him pay it back eventually. Let us know if anything is decided about child support. I understand. Thank you for taking care of Grace." "Thank you. I had fun with Grandma," Grace said, making my Mill cry. "I'll miss my lovely daughter-in-law and granddaughter. I'll visit again. Goodbye for now." With that, Grace and I went home. We moved to an apartment near my parents' house. Noah and I finalized our divorce. Because of his injury, Noah lost his job, and he couldn't pay the alimony, so his parents had to cover. Unexpectedly for him, the parents of his affair partner also demanded compensation, blaming him for the accident and for leading their daughter astray despite being married. It was only natural. If the same thing happened to Grace, I'd be furious too. Noah went into debt to pay off the compensation demanded by both his parents and his affair partner's parents. Stuck in a mountain of debt, Noah worked day and night, with most of his salary going to repayments. He could walk, but not like before, and his job options were limited. He had sown the seeds of his own downfall. He needs to reflect deeply and live an honest life from now on. 4 months later, Grace attended her first day of elementary school. Seeing her so happy with her bright red backpack gave me an indescribable feeling of joy. Grace understood the divorce and seemed a bit sensitive at first, but now she didn't care about Noah. After the divorce, we moved close to my parents' house, and when I worked late, my mother helped take care of Grace. Grace had been neglected by Noah. From now on, I will shower her with love and raise her with all my heart.